Well, a very warm welcome to RPTV, and it is the Neptune Investment Novices Hurdle, which is under the scrutiny of Nick Watts and Graham Rodway. Well then, gentlemen, Grade 1, cracking affair, often farms top-class future horses for the Cheltenham Festival. However, top-class race in its own right, and Pont Alexandra, Nick, heads the market at around 11-4. Willie Mullins is very bullish about this one, and how do you sum him up?
I find it hard to pick holes in any of the ones at the top of the market, really, to be honest, because I think they've all done their winning, done it very well. And there's legitimate reasons, if you do support Pont Alexandra, to go there with every hope. I'd say the only negatives about him that I can find is that he's winning in very small fields in Ireland, which isn't going to be the case here, so he'll be faced with a different type of test. And the fact that he lacks experience. He's only had 2 runs in Ireland. He came from France. He only had 1 run over there. And yeah, he's won all of them really easily. You can't quibble with what he's done visually. It's been superb. Ruby Walsh noticeably confident about him. Willie Mullins likewise. They don't think good ground will be a problem for him. So I'm not going to sit here and rubbish him. I think, he's a very, very big danger. But, maybe a slight concern on the experience front and the fact that he's been doing it all in small fields. That's the only negative I can find with him. OK, Graham, would you be interested in 11-4?
Well, I was considering backing him because I think he might go off to 6-4 chance. However, now that price-wise is tipped against him, Ante-post and there are a couple of other big runners in it. I'm not sure he will. It's a tough one because sometimes you've got plenty of firms now going on run a no bet, and I do think sometimes that they don't take into the account what the horse might be on the day when they're going to run a no bet. I mean, and as I say, I originally thought maybe he could be a 6-4 chance. He's difficult to knock. He's won 2 races really easily. Ruby Walsh is comparing him to Denman. Willie Mullins thinks he's a bit like Michael Dagenais.
And Pont Alexander over the last and clear of Sizing Gold, and on the run up towards the finish, it's Pont Alexander, who impressed so many when winning at Navan, is doing it yet again here to win the Synergy Security Solutions Novice Hurdle. Pont Alexander and Ruby Walsh clear, another one for Willie Mullins. And
well, you've touched upon ante-post there, the selection of price-wise at 8-1. Challow winner just galloped relentlessly away from Easter Day in that one. Well, how do you view him?
Oh, I'm a huge fan. You have ante-post. I saw him a few times actually live in the flesh, and when he was second behind My Tent to Yours, trying to give him £5 over 2 miles, it was a really good run, an absolute impossible task he faced. And then he bolted up next time at Sandown, albeit his main dangers did fall away very early in the race, and he wasn't really left with that much to beat, but he did come out and confirm the form next time out at Newbury. But again, the one thing you can say is that his main danger, Clondor Kempfer, seemed to go wrong about 2 out, and again, maybe he wasn't left with much to beat. But it's hard, again, to knock a horse that just keeps winning, doing it so easily, and I can see why Tom likes him at 8-1. I mean, that was quite a big price, but I think he's going to be a lot shorter than that now, and I think the value's probably gone. OK then, well, Nick, I've touched upon beforehand that this race has got strong opinions, and Nick here has actually told me before we come on air this is his bet of the festival, and I think you're going to tell us all again. Go on then, Nick. I've built it up now. What is it?
Yeah, it's not a massive price, and a lot of people like it already, but it's the new one. I'm worried though. I'm so bullish actually, because normally when you feel like this, it can only go one way, and that's not well. But no, I just love this horse. I think you saw in his bumpers last year, he beat My Tent to Yours. He had a burn up at Aintree over the last couple of furlongs. The new one came out on top, which is an impressive piece of form when you look back on it now with a bit of hindsight. Since he's gone over hurdles, I think he's done very well. He won the Warwick Grade 2, and I'm the first to admit it wasn't the strongest Grade 2 in the world. But I don't think you can argue much with the way he did it. He looked very, very impressive. But what really impressed me was his run last time, which might sound strange because he actually got beaten. But if you rewind to Cheltenham Trials Day, the going on that occasion, it was awful. It was terrible. It was really, really tiring ground. It was very hard to look impressive. And I think it was a day for grinding out results rather than doing anything flash. I think the only horse on that whole day who I saw genuinely quicken was the new one, which he did round in the home turn, put a couple of lengths on his field and looked as though he was going to win comfortably. In hindsight, Sam Twiston-Davies has probably gone a little bit too soon. And he's been beaten by a combination of an inspired Tony McCoy, a good horse in at Fisher's Cross, and a very, very strong stayer. I think on good ground, if that race had been run on good ground, good to soft ground, I don't think those horses would have got anywhere near him, and he would have won by 5-10 lengths maybe. Looked very, very impressive, and he would have come in here a strong favourite. I don't think, although I like the other horses, I don't see any other horse in this race that has the speed that the new one has. on good to soft ground. Don't think there's any horse in this race that could have beaten My Tent or Yours in a bumper. But the beauty of him is that he stays this trip perfectly well as well. So he stays 2 miles 5, no problem. But he's got a massive turn of foot. He's got a huge engine. He's 4 to 1. So
of course, a distance form. So
he loves Cheltenham. Yeah. He's won there twice already. Finished second there last time, so he knows the course very, very well indeed. If it's good to soft ground, I think it'll take an awful lot of beating. And you know, I'm as confident as Nigel Twiston-Davies is. But then we'll cross the G-Rod.
It's not that I don't like the new one that much. It's just I don't like him of the big three. If we're discussing the big three being Pont Alexandra, Tack and the new one, I just think that he's possibly the weakest of them. Just for the simple reason that I laid him at Cheltenham last time when he was beaten. Obviously, was happy to see him get beat. On the reason that when he won at Cheltenham 2 outings ago, I didn't think he was that good. And I thought he made quite hard work of beating Village Vic, who has been a bit disappointing since as well. In fact, been very disappointing since. I just think that his form falls below that of the other two at the top of the market. He's obviously got a really good chance, hence why he's 4 to 1 second favourite. I'm not absolutely dead against him, but of the top 3 in the market, I think he's the weakest.
Okay, then, well, I gather overall then you're taking on those at the top, Graham. So if we're looking for some each way value to take them on, where are you heading?
Well, I've had a bet in this race already, and I've got the value. I've taken 10 to 1 about Puffin Billy, and you can now get 16s. So I'm on at the price, but I don't see any reason to desert Puffin Billy. I was a bit critical of Melodic Rendezvous in the Supreme, and I know Melodic Rendezvous beat him easily, but as I said at that time, Puffin Billy, for some reason that day, it wasn't the same horse that I'd seen on his previous starts. The one thing you can say about Puffin Billy is he really does tank along. He's usually a very strong traveller, pulls the jockey's arms out the whole way round. And
you subsequently come out with a foot problem there, which he's been diagnosed for. So.
That day he just wasn't travelling. From an early stage, he wasn't travelling with the same zest that he had done in his previous wins. And if you look back at his other runs, he's virtually, he's unbeatable in all the other runs.
He's done everything very easy.
His record would be unblemished. I mean, he hadn't come off the bridle in 4 starts, 2 bumpers and 2 hurdles. Absolutely bolted up on both starts over hurdles, including a Grade 2 at Ascot, hard on the steel with any amount of improvement to come, I thought, when he got a stronger pace, because he was running in a small field and really pulling Barry Geraghty's arms out all the way round. But the fact that he was still able to tank through and win tells you how much ability he's got. And I thought in a bigger field and a stronger pace, if you could get him settled, then there was a huge amount of potential for improvement. And I also think, although he's got plenty of speed, that the 2 mile 5 furlong Neptune race is a much better fit for him. He's a big chasing type, really, Puffin Billy, and that's the sort of horse that usually goes well in the Neptune. And I just think the race is made for him. And as I understand it, if they do run in the Neptune as opposed to the Supreme, then Barry Geraghty will make himself available to ride. And if he does, then he'll be a massive runner, and he won't be 16 to 1. It'll probably be about 8s on the day. So I think he's a really good bet at 16.
At the moment, this is the last. Puffin Billy on the stand side of Up to Something. They both take it well, and Puffin Billy saunters alongside. No need to stoke the coals for Barry Geraghty, because Puffin Billy's got a big engine. 4 out of 4. Up to Something ran really well in defeat, but he couldn't get Puffin Billy to break sweat. Puffin Billy living up to his tour reputation, the biggest prize so far.
Okay, so 16 to 1 Puffin Billy for Graham. And Nick, we'll very quickly move on to Rule the World. If you can give me 10 seconds, at 10 to 1, what's your view on him?
Yeah, I mean, if the big 3 flop, then Rule the World could be the one to take advantage. Yeah, really impressed with him this season. And in other years, then I'd quite strongly fancy him to win this race. Mouse Morris got a very good record in one with First Lieutenant. He's a half-brother to Vinalma, who was second in this race a few seasons ago. So, you know, he ticks quite a few boxes, and he won very comfortably last time. I think good ground will suit him. But I think there's a huge strength in depth at the top end of this market. The big 3, if you want to call them, Pont Alexandra, the new one, Tack and Decide. I think it's very hard for other horses to get a look in with those 3 at the top. I'd set a very high standard. I don't dislike Puffin. I respect your choice, G-Rod. I just, you know, he was not right last time. You could see that. Like you said, you could see it from some way out, so you'd have to ignore that. But any horse who has an interrupted preparation for Cheltenham is it's not ideal, is it? You
Yeah,
know,
fair enough.
It's no fault of anybody's, but it's just not ideal.
Well, very quickly, and I'll throw in one I think is a bit of a long shot. I tipped this at 66 to 1 for the Supreme. It could well end up in this contest, and that is Whispering Gallery, 33 to 1, Graham. We were talking before we came on air that potentially there's about 15 horses above him in the market who, by all accounts, aren't going to run. And I see him going off, well, at least half the price here.
Yeah. I think he's a really talented individual, actually, especially over hurdles where his hurdling seems to have improved a little bit. I think he's a bit of a lunatic, but he's got
an engine.
He's got an engine.
Group 3 winner.
There's plenty of horses that might not run in this race, and if you were to go and take, I think 33 to 1's on offer, I can see him easily being a big shortener.
Okay, brilliant. So just to sum up then, the better the festival is the new one for you then, Nick?
Yeah, not a huge price at 4 to 1, but yeah, he is a very, very, very strong fancy.
Oh, fantastic. And Graham, Puffin Billy for you?
Puffin Billy, all the way.
Brilliant. Oh, I'm going to go a little bit of each way on Whispering Gallery. Well, many thanks for watching. We'll see you all again soon.